Are you ready to begin bringing your employees back from furlough or layoff since COVID-19? In this video, I will break down some of the things that you should consider when you bring back your employees from layoff. If you're new here, my name is Janica, and I am here to help you navigate the HR space. Now, first things first, I've been hearing a lot of feedback from leaders and hiring managers who are sharing their stories about what it's like to be back in the office and back on the job site since the furlough, since the giant pause. And they have some very interesting insights. And I'm going to share with you some of those takeaways from those conversations. So, first, you will need to review your existing policies for your staff. What do you need to refresh? How are things going to be different now that everyone is back working and they're doing their thing? What are going to be the safety procedures, the sanitation, like how you're going to space the desk apart, whether or not you're going to place limitations on how many people can be in a conference room, or how you're going to space out their shifts so not too many people are in one space at a time. So, these are a few things that you should consider when the overall safety of the employees are concerned. And what's critical with this is that it's important for you to communicate these changes because perhaps a lot of employees have a lot of worry and concern on their mind. So you want to consider the emotional aspect of all of this. Probably the days are going to be gone of the water cooler chat and talking very close. Um, are you going to require the employees to wear masks or anything of that nature to assure their safety? So once you have laid out all of the new policies and you've had an opportunity to review everything, make sure that you communicate clearly with the staff, whether you make it in the form of a a meeting or an announcement. Perhaps you'll do like an announcement in your HRIS system or payslip inserts or something like that to make sure that the employees are aware of any new policies that will be affecting them moving forward. Also, now that this is a post COVID-19 and trying to work and balance all of that stuff, you want to make sure that by law you have the FFCRA posters that are visible and ready for your employees to review and to make sure that they know what their rights are during this time. Under the FFCRA, the employees are entitled to paid sick leave and emergency or extended FMLA. So you want to make sure that they are aware of what their rights are. Considering right now, a lot of childcare facilities are still closed. I know that in the near future, a lot of them will be opening up, but summer is upon us. So a lot of the summer camps are going to remain closed. So those parents just may have a little bit of a struggle getting to work and maybe even staying focused at work when they're concerned about the well being of their children at home. So, let's make sure that you have that poster. Again, you can have it posted in your HRIS system. You can have it near the break room where the rest of your posters, your Department of Labor posters, are anywhere, any common area. You want to make sure that you have that poster up. Okay, so I know that a lot of you out there are probably responsible for determining who is going to be recalled to work. So, your furloughed people, the people who have been laid off, how do you categorize those people and make the determination who comes first? Are you phasing them in? I've seen a lot of companies actually bring in their most critical people, like the people who need to be in the office, the ones who are responsible for bringing in those sales and making business happen. And the admin staff, maybe your admin staff has just been working at home throughout this time as administrative support. And this pertains to the human resources department as well. So even though everyone in your organization, it plays an important role, there are some roles that are a little bit more critical than the others, especially when it comes to the bottom line. Some employers are choosing to have the high risk individuals. That's the ones who have underlying health concerns, the ones that are older, the ones that are more susceptible to having a more severe case of COVID-19 if they ever contract it. So those are the ones who are going to be last coming into the office. So that's a little something, just food for thought for you as you think about who is going to be phased back in. Okay, so another policy that you should review is your paid leave, your PTO, your vacation, your existing sick leave policies. Have they been accruing this whole time? Have you allowed the employees to use that time intermittently? What are those rules? What are your policies? Now is the time to review all of that information to make sure that it's fair across the board, number one. And number two, that it can be communicated to the staff as soon as they get back to work and they assume their positions and then they do everything for the organization. So, one of the things that I want you to think about is the other side of all of this. Yes, the employees are coming back. Okay, so do they have any accruals left for them if they need to go back out sick? Maybe their child may contract it. Maybe a family member may contract it. Maybe the schools really don't ever reopen. Let's just hope that they will reopen. I have faith that they will be reopening. But let's just say, worst case scenario, a lot of these parents are going to end up being homeschool parents for another year. So, what are your policies surrounding that? Are you going to have some sort of flexibility around that, or will they need to use their PTO time in order to take care of their children? And this segues into the next thing that I want you to think about is telework. A lot of companies have decided to keep telework forever, indefinitely, because it's so convenient. And a lot of employees and companies have realized how easy it is to actually work from home and how convenient it is to work from home. So, that being said, make sure that your teleworking policy is fair across the board and that they have the support and the equipment that they need to do their jobs. That's another thing that you should consider moving forward. And one of the things that I forgot to mention in my previous bullet point in here is think about phasing the employees back in, but make sure you're doing it fairly, that you're not doing it to disadvantage or to put another employee at a disadvantage. So what I'm saying is by race, by sex, by marital status, by parental status, steer clear of these groups of people because you don't want to be labeled as a discriminative or discriminate employer who has targeted certain groups who do not have the resources to return to work at this time. So you don't want to set your employees up to terminate them. Now, this is very unethical practice, but it is happening. And I need for you to be aware of this. This is the reason why I'm adding this inside of this video is because a lot of employers are just kind of skirting around it and saying, hey, we know that so-and-so doesn't have daycare. So we're going to summons her back, but we're going to fire her if she can't come back. I'm going to post another video about what happens when employees cannot return back to work. And when I do, I'll place it somewhere at the top of this video for your reference because this is something else that's been going on and I want to be able to address it here on this channel. So, the last thing I want for you to think about and to consider as you bring everyone back to work is your travel policies. So, what are going to be your travel policies moving forward? Are you going to allow international travel, city, county, state, you know, countrywide travel? Are you going to allow that anymore? A lot of companies are still kind of suspending that for the time being because a lot of meetings can now be held virtually. So you want to limit the possibility of the employee contracting COVID-19 while on the job. And this plays into your safety measures and the other things that you have in place to assure that you're keeping your employees safe and you are thinking about them and they are at the forefront of your mind. Yes, we're all in business to make money, but not at the risk of the health of your employees. And one more thing, when you don't pay attention to the needs of your employees and you don't make sure that they are okay throughout this entire process, the way that you treat your employees is going to be the way that they will treat you at the end of all of this. A lot of employees are choosing not to go back to work at all because they've had it. They've been treated very roughly and very unfairly. And a lot of them are just choosing to walk away and pivot their careers in a different way because what they've always done doesn't really work out anymore. So I'm going to end on that note. I want you to exercise a lot of caution when it comes to bringing your employees back to work. These are the things that you should think about. And if you have had any experience with planning or bringing employees back to work since the furloughs, the layoffs, and the giant pause, leave your comments below. If you like what you've heard, click subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.